Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have my end of 2023 book haul. So this is something that usually every month I try to do earlier in the month, but January is always just so weird with trying to get in like end of the year content and beginning of the year content. So it's a little bit past when I would normally like to share this. So these have been sitting on my desk here instead of put away on the shelves. But I have quite a few books to talk about today. I have 13 physical books and 45 ebooks to talk about. The ebooks are mostly from Stuff Your Kindle, which is a great thing. You get free romance, usually, ebooks. I don't 100% know everything about those, but there was like 45 that I was interested in. So we're gonna start with the physical books, the ones that I have a little bit more to talk about, and then we'll run through those as well. As you can see, I have my stack right here. Let's actually move some of these over and start with the presents, because I did have some amazing people send me some books as presents around the Christmas season. So I have like 4 of them here. Let's start with those. The first one I've already mentioned because I actually read it in December, so I talked about it in my wrap up. It is Nightlights by Lorena Alvarez, and this was sent to me by Lauren. Thank you so much, Lauren. It is a middle grade comic graphic novel about a girl who is really into art, and she goes to like this Catholic school, and she ends up having like a sort of like artist block, trying to figure out like what she wants to do. The art style in here is gorgeous, and like in her dreams her art and stuff comes to life. It does get a little bit creepy, and so keep that in mind if you're wanting to get this for like a middle grade audience. I don't think it's too creepy. I don't think it is out of age range or anything, but it does get a little bit creepy. There is a sequel that I'm now very interested in, so yes, this is the first gift. I also received The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes from Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe. Thank you so much. This is a YA mystery. I actually don't know everything about this. I've read a different series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes that I really enjoyed that was more like a contemporary, almost sci-fi sort of spy thing. I have not finished that series, but I really want to, and this is one that was very popular when it came out. Like, I remember this series always having a lot of readers and a lot of traction. I think there's like games in it because it's called The Inheritance Games, so I'm very intrigued by this, and so again, just thank you so much. I also have Space Opera by Catherine M. Valenti. This was given to me by Ren from the Reading Ren. Thank you so much. This is one that I've had like on my radar for a while, and I just haven't picked it up, obviously, but Ren's note actually said that they've heard a lot of good things about this, and you can't go wrong with gays in space, and I completely agree. I'm very intrigued by this. This is space opera, so it's taking the sort of like space opera genre, but it's also like a singing competition, so like opera as in singing as well. Like, I'm very curious about this one, and I love that concept. And then the last one that I have here for a gift is a Highlander for Hannah by Mary Warren. This was given to me by Nikki from Nerdy Nikki. Thank you so much again. This is one that she read recently, really enjoyed, and it is like an indie romance. The main character is plus sized. I don't know anything else about it, but it does have a gorgeous cover by Lenny Kaufman, who I follow on Instagram, and so like sometimes I end up seeing some of these like more indie books, romance books, through that Instagram first because I love the cover, and then I want to read some because they're intriguing, and I am so thankful to have this. So again, thank you so much. Those were all the gifts. Now let's go into things that I bought for myself in December. I did get a couple Harlequin special edition books that I probably should have read in December because I think they're both in the Christmas season in some way, but that did not happen. But they sounded intriguing. So I have Her Best Friend's Wedding by Christine Rimmer. And this is an intriguing one because it seems like it's about best friends who did not get married to each other. The guy actually married like her other best friend, but they've now gotten divorced, I think, and so he's newly single, and then they are gonna end up having a romance. Like, I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but I was intrigued enough by it that, you know, for like $5. I picked it up. I also have Once Upon a Charming Bookshop by Heather Lee Bell. And this one looks like it's going to be a friends to lovers type romance, which I do enjoy. And it talks about how both of these characters had purely been best friends. I think she's the one that owns the bookshop, and he has recently come back to town. And it seems like feelings are going to develop from that friendship. And so, yeah, I had to pick it up. I also picked up The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. This was something I was planning on reading in the month of December. I talked about it a little bit in the vlog that I did in December, but I ended up switching it out for Second Chances in Newport Stephen, and then by the time I finished that vlog, I was burnt out on reading a little bit, and so I just didn't continue past like page 30. It is something I want to read, and I just haven't. This is going to be about like a home improvement type of show that wants to film a Christmas like special, and this woman who's like in charge of it goes to this town, and there's a guy who does not want her to be there helping, and I'm sure there's reasons for it. I have not gotten there, but yeah, it's a Christmas romance, so I'll probably read it in December of this year. Then we have some book box books. I did do actually an unboxing for these, so I'll leave it linked down below if you want more information. But the first one I have here, and one that I just sort of mentioned, is Second Chances in Newport Stephen by TJ Alexander. This came in the Afterlight subscription for November, which I think came at the end of November, beginning of December. I unboxed it on my channel. I've already read this one, really enjoyed it, and I just think it's a gorgeous addition. Like, I really love the fact that we do have the manatees here, and this is a second chance romance of high school sweethearts, who one is now like a single dad. He's divorced from the mom, and the other one had left town after high school and came to discover that they were trans at that time period, and has now come back, and they're going to rekindle that romance. I really did enjoy this one, so yeah. I also have the November Illumicrate, which was Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I think this is YA, sort of like a dark academia. I don't 100% know, but again, I really love how they did this. This one actually has the like clear dust jacket, and so underneath is this gorgeous like house, and then the back of the house, and it has like a cemetery, and the edges sort of fit with the actual like what the dust jacket was supposed to be. And this one, from my understanding, does have like an author that our main character was really into, and they go to the house to figure out stuff. That's really all I know. Oh, and it did have really nice end papers as well, so just a gorgeous addition. And then I had also gotten the November Rainbow Crate, which has a traditionally published book and an indie book. So let's do traditionally published first. We have Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher. This is the alternate dust jacket, although they do have the original one as well. I really love both so much. I don't know like which one I would want on my shelf like all the time. They're just both really good covers. And this one is one that I really wanted to get originally. Like, it was on one of my lists of like new releases coming out in 2023, and I didn't get to read it yet, but it's about Guinevere and King Arthur, and like they're supposed to be betrothed to be married, but neither one of them likes each other. Gwen is actually like in love with a lady knight, and I think Arthur is falling in love with her brother, and so yeah, this is gonna be YA. I am very intrigued to read it. And then one thing about Rainbow Crate, which I do mention in the unboxings, is they do have nutrition facts, which I absolutely love. So in this book here, for representation, we have Sapphic, Achillean, Thai, and biracial Iranian/white. It is a historical rom-com. Plot has frenemies, two reluctant friends, the lady gets the knight, and shenanigans. And for demographics, it is young adult. And then for the indie book, we have Prince of Air and Darkness by M.A. Grant. I actually don't know anything about this. I mostly wanted the traditional book, but one of the indie books that came in 2023 for Rainbow Crate was my favorite book of the year. So they do have some good books that are indie that they publish, and they do these gorgeous editions. Like, look at that. And then we do have like, I love that it like goes from like an orangey color to like this almost like light white-ish blue, and then it has a holographic image. Like, it's a gorgeous book. We have the end papers under here, signed book plate too, actually. Let me, there. But like, end papers and edges and everything about their indie books is gorgeous. But like I said, I actually don't know anything about this, so let's see. Nutrition facts, that's all I really need to know. It says, representation, Achillean, gay, and bisexual. I do think it is going to be a male-male romance. Genre is fantasy romance. Plot is poorly chosen one. Enemies to lovers, mutual pining, and fae magic. And then this one is going to be 100% adult. So, yeah, an adult indie romance. I do probably need to read it. They've had some really good ones. And then the last few physical books that I have here are actually ones that I ordered through Kickstarter. So the first one I have here is the House of Lowther, Volume 1 by Kaylin Smith. I absolutely love Kaylin Smith's work. I've been following her for a while. Like, I actually got some of her original comics, like Plume. Those are a while ago. Like, they were webcomics that she eventually published in volumes, and I think I got the first 2 at a Phoenix Comic-Con years ago, like before volume 3 and 4 were published, and then she's done another comic in between that and this one. I just love her writing style. I love when she does her own characters, because she does sometimes do her art style for other people's comics and stuff. But this one is about Sawyer, who is like going to this estate and being a like housekeeper, and then when she's there she realizes it's actually a place for like paranormal beings and like monsters like Bigfoot and Mothman and vampires and werewolves and things like that. I absolutely love this. There is obviously more to the story. I'm following her on Patreon, so like that's where I get my individual pages and chapters and stuff. We're still getting into the thick of it, but volume 1 came out on Kickstarter during 2023. I obviously had to pick it up. It is gorgeous. I love this edition of like, it's like black leather. I don't know, like it looks old school, like it just, but I love the art style. I love the story. Like, it is so cool. And then I did also find this, I think in 2023, like beginning of 2023, and it came in December. We have Ava's Demon, book 1 and book 2 by Michelle Fuss. I have not read these before. These were something that were published on Webtoon, and I started reading because I was curious about the Kickstarter. Really enjoyed what I was reading. Did not finish it because I knew I was going to end up funding it instead. And these are gorgeous hardcover gold foil edges. They're still in plastic. I haven't opened them up yet, so I'm sorry about that. But these are some of the most expensive books I think I've funded on Kickstarter, but I mean, like, for how thick they are, for the fact that it is a comic the whole way through, I'm okay with that. And they are very gorgeous. Not only did they do this on Kickstarter, but they actually image comics, which I think is very intriguing, because a lot of comics that come through Webtoon and stuff, they end up having an indie publisher, and I guess Image is sort of there, but I feel like they're more well known. So yeah, I have those 2 as well. Don't ask me what it's about. It's like a fantasy world. There are queer characters. That's all I know. Okay, and so now let's talk about the ebooks that I have here. So like I said, I do have 45 ebooks to talk about. Now, part of this is because Feb, which is Fantasy Romance February on Instagram, they do stuff outside of February, but there's like a readathon thing that happens in February. They were doing an advent calendar for December, and so there was one author every day from December 1st through December 24th that had a like short story or a novella or something that you could get for free. I did not get every single one. I only got the ones that I was intrigued by. So I do have a few of those here. I think I'll probably try and mention which ones those are as we go through. But then on December 27th, we also had Stuff Your Kindle. This is a quarterly thing that happens, so every 3 months, romance authors come together and they give out free books. And this is something that is done through Romance Bookworms, is like how I know about it. I am subscribed to their mailing list, and so they do notify us like, hey, this is happening, this is when the date is. There was over 2,000 authors, again, giving books away for free. And I got 30 something. I don't actually know the exact number here, but in a whole bunch of different types of romance genres. Again, I don't know everything. I will try to do my best to tell you what we have here. So all of these books that I have here, I actually just have in alphabetical order by the book title, because I ended up putting them in my computer so that I can put them in this video. And so that's going to be the easiest way to do this. I'll tell you what I know about them. I don't know much. So When I scooch over here, we'll put them over here. The first one I have is A Body in 3B by Aaron Scott. This one is going to be more of a mystery with some romance. We also have A Bond of Thread by Allegra Pescatore and J.P. Burnison. I picked up a different book by Allegra Pescatore the last Stuff Your Kindle event, and I've been intrigued by this author. They do have disability representation. I don't know what we have in this book specifically, but there's a guy with wings on the cover. That should tell you something. Then I also have A Curse for Spring by Amanda Boucher. So this is a novella. This actually was during the Pharaoh Feb. Amanda Boucher is not somebody that I've read from before, but I've been intrigued by. So this one I think was a novella with low steam, sort of like an introduction to one of her worlds, I believe, so that's why I picked this one up. I also have Across Dark Seas by Claire Sager. This is a novella prequel to this series, the Beneath Black Sails series by Claire Sager. I read book 1 as a buddy read in 2023. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. And so I'm still intrigued by the world. I just don't know exactly when I'm going to continue. But I got the prequel novella during Stuff Your Kindle. I also have Aliens, Smith and Jones by Blaine D. Arden. This is going to be a mystery, alien, sci-fi, male-male romance. I don't know anything else about it, but I was intrigued. We also have Alternate Intentions by A.E. McRoberts. This is one that has hardly any reviews on Goodreads, so I feel like it's probably a newer release, and it was one of the ones that has like a sort of sci-fi twist. I don't know much else, but again, I was intrigued enough to pick it up during Stuff Your Kindle. I also have An Alchemist's Vow by Helen Schuerer. I'm so sorry, I probably definitely mispronounced that. This is from Pharaoh Feb during the Advent calendar because it is a Legend Origins novella, so it's going to be a novella prequel probably to one of her series. I also picked up Backwater Queen by Katie Austin. It says it's the Cherished Galaxy #3. This is a sci-fi romance that was there during Stuff Your Kindle, but from my understanding, there are different people for each book, and so I should be able to read book 3 without having to read the other ones. And I was very intrigued by the sci-fi nature of this. I don't 100% remember anything else about it, but also this cover is gorgeous. And then we have Barren by Yolanda Olson. This one is the first in a series about people who are working at a freak show carnival. I am curious about how that is going to play into it because it is going to be like a paranormal, mystical, magical sort of book. Like it's not just freak show. I don't personally like calling it that, but I wasn't entirely too sure how else to do it because I think in the summary from Stuff Your Kindle, they used that description and I wasn't too sure I was going to get it, but the summary on Amazon didn't use that. So we'll see about this one. I then also picked up Bound by Honey by Jamie Dalton. This is part of a series that has different authors with different books. Like it's all fantasy stuff, but they're all different authors. I do believe this one was from Stuff Your Kindle. I don't actually know anything else about it. And then we have Broomsticks and Board Games by Amy McNulty. This one is magical, but it also has a mystery. I believe it is something about somebody joining the board game club, and then either they get threatened or somebody dies. Something like that. We also have By the Fae by Gemma Croft. This one is Fantasy Flatmates Book 2, but again, it seems like they're individual novels in the same world. Like you don't have to read book 1 to read book 2. This one does talk about like you teach me how to do this and I'll teach you how to kiss or date or something. I'm curious about the vibes of that because sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I also have Captive of Wolves by Eva Chase. This one is going to be a Why Choose romance. I'm pretty sure I've heard of this author before. I don't think I've read anything by them, but this book specifically has been on my radar, so when I saw it there, I had to get it. We also have Chevalier First Class by Alison Carr Watcher. This is one from the Advent that I actually did read in December. I think it's still not on Goodreads, even though I put it in for the Goodreads librarians, and it was a very short 20-something page story that I think is setting up some characters for a different series by her. It didn't really have any romance in this book specifically, but I know the other series I think is supposed to be fantasy romance. We also have Claimed by the Orc Prince by Lionel Hart. This is another one that I'm very curious about. I've seen this before actually at my Barnes & Noble. My Barnes & Noble has an amazing romance section, and like the manager who's in charge of the romance section also gets a lot of indie romances and stuff. And so I've been very curious about this one. Again, I'm not the biggest monster romance person, but I've heard good things, so we'll try it. I also have Cosplay and Confrontation by Sarah Zane. This one actually got picked for me to read this month during my TBR game. You guys got to vote, and this is the one that won. It is supposed to be a sapphic romance, contemporary. I think it is something to do with cosplay, obviously, and like fandom stuff. I have not started it yet, but I am very excited to. Then I also have Dragon Mate by Jen L. Gray. I don't know anything about this except for dragons, I'm pretty sure. We also have Fly with the Arrow by Sarah K.L. Wilson. So this one is one that I got during Stuff Your Kindle, and I was actually very excited to see it there because I'm doing a 12 books, 12 friends thing in 2024, and one of my friends, Lana from Lore and Lullabies, actually picked this book for me to read, Fly with the Arrow. I personally don't remember what she said this was about or anything like that, but I'm very excited to have it because it is something that I was going to read this year anyway. I also have Frost and Fury by Lizzie Prince. This is Olympus Games book 1. It is something to do with like Greek mythology retelling stuff, so yeah. We have Frozen Hearts and Death Magic by Day Litau. It's a Fire and Fae book 1. Again, the cover is gorgeous. I don't know much about it, but I'm pretty sure the guy on the cover has like elf ears and horns, so it is definitely fantasy romance. We also have Ghost of a Threat by Beth Dolgner. This is Betty Boo Ghost Hunter series book 1. So this one is, I guess, again, going to be more mystery focused with some romantic suspense maybe in there. I'm curious about it. We also have Graveyard Shift by Angela Roque. This is one that you guys did not pick during the TBR game, but this was up against Cosplay and Confrontation. Again, I think gonna be more paranormal sort of romance stuff. It's about somebody who ends up being like a necromancer. So yeah. We also have Greed by Katie May. It's The Damning book 1. I actually don't remember anything about this, mostly because I know there's a series by like Jane Washington and Jamin Eve. One of the books has the title Greed, and that's what it makes me think of, even though I know it's not the same. I think this one is dealing with 7 deadly sins, but I don't 100% remember. We also have Green-Eyed Monster by Elsie Winters. This is one that was during the Advent calendar, so this is going to be a short story. But yeah, I've been curious about Elsie Winters. I picked up, I think it's Leviathan's Song last Stuff Your Kindle. I have not read it yet, but it's an author name that I recognize, so I did pick up this short story as well. We also have New Witch on the Block by Louisa West. This one was said it was like Gilmore Girls meets Practical Magic. That sold me 100% right there. Don't know anything else about it. I got it though. We also have Of Snow So White by Sierra Rowan. I do believe this is a fairy tale-esque sort of one. I could be mistaken because last time I got stuff, there was a lot of fairy tale stuff, so maybe, maybe not. And then there's Once Upon a Pumpkin Spice Latte by Sydney Strand. This one is more fall-based. Again, going to be romance in some way. I really don't know anything else. We also have One Dark Spark by Jessica Wayne and Heather Hildenbrand. This is Accidental Alchemy book 1, so we are going to have some magic in some way. I recognized Heather Hildenbrand's name. That's all I know. And we have Promised in Fire by Jasmine Walt. Again, I recognize Jasmine Walt's name. This is going to be Of Dragons and Fae. I don't know anything else. We have Reaper Unexpected by Debbie Cassidy. Another paranormal one with some sort of Reaper necromancy. I think the other one was necromancy, this one's Reaper. I don't 100% remember, but I was intrigued. Then we have Shatter the Dark by Jenna Collette. This is Ever Dark, Ever Deadly book 4. I have now book 1, book 4, and book 5 in this series. They're all supposed to be fairy tale stuff in some way. So like I think book 5 is like Alice in Wonderland. I don't particularly know this one, but I'm intrigued by that concept, and yes, I need to start with book 1 probably, but I really, really want to read these. We also have Spells of Iron and Bone by Sarah Piper. This is Tarot Academy book 1. I know there's a couple different Academy books that I got that are supposed to be university aged, because I'm definitely not reading the high school, Academy high school setting stuff as much. So I'm assuming that this is going to be one of those ones, a university aged one. I also have Stolen Ice Bride by Angela J. Ford. I've actually already read this and it's going to be in a vlog soon, but this is part of a series where there's different authors that write different books, so you obviously don't have to read them all together, but this one was one about ice lords and magicians and stuff like that. And then there's also Stolen Threadwitch Bride by Claire Sager. So this is again in the same series. I don't personally know what this one is about. Threadwitch in some way. Then we have The Anti-Relationship Year by Katie Wismer, which is the Pact Book 2. Again, I don't think you have to read book 1 first, but this is about somebody who decides to like have an anti-relationship year, but instead ends up having romance. Like, it sounded pretty good. Then we have The Daughters of Nyx by Audrey Moore, another one that is going to have paranormal, magical, fantasy romance in some way. I don't particularly know how. We also have The Dream Heist by Christina Farley. This one is going to be dealing with those dreams and I think was more in the like mystery suspense category with romance versus like romance was the main genre. But it says your dreams are no longer safe. So we also have The Lord of Stariel by AJ Lancaster. This is one that I was very intrigued by as well. I had heard about it before I saw it during Stuff Your Kindle. I don't remember exactly why I picked it up. It was one of those ones that was supposed to be like cozy fantasy romance, and there was some sort of vibe that I can't remember what they said it was, but I was intrigued by it. We also have The Midnight Prince by Angie Grigaliunas. This one is a Once Upon a Prince story. So again, another series that has a lot of different authors, I'm pretty sure, with different fantasy fairy tale retellings. So this is going to be a Cinderella retelling. I'm curious about those. I've realized recently that even if I'm not 100% sold on the stories once I read them, I am always intrigued by the retellings and I want to read them. We also have The Moonfire Bride by Sylvia Mercedes. This is an author's name I recognize. I don't particularly remember what this book is about. We have The Storm and the Darkness by Sarah M. Craddock. Again, an author's name I recognize. This is the first book in a series that did sound intriguing, but I don't remember what it's about. The Undateable Maisie May by Belle Adams. This is part of the Unforgettable Billionaire Brothers. This is a contemporary romance. I was not 100% sure that I wanted this one because I'm not usually into those like billionaire type of stories, but it was free. We'll try it out. We also have The Water Rider and the Highborn Fae by H.R. Moore. This is a Shadow and Ash story, so this was during the Advent. Again, an author that I recognize, a story that should be taking place in this world some way, and so I figured it would be a good introduction to their writing and the world. We also have Through the Paintings Dimly by J.M. Butler. This is another one from the Advent. I don't particularly know what this one is about. Also, Waters of Salt and Sin by Alicia Klafke. This is another one that was during the Advent. It's an Uncommon World book 1. So I think it actually was the whole book versus just like a short story or novella. But I feel like it was like pirates and maybe like water magic. So I definitely picked that up as well. And it looks like that is the last one. Lots of books. I added them all to my TBR and on Goodreads and everything at the very beginning of January just to make sure I had everything ready to go for 2024. I'm sorry if you saw me spam on Goodreads saying, hey, I want to read all of these, because I had purchased them and I needed to put them in there. But that's it. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye.